Hey everyone, let's talk about something we all do every single day, partnering up with AI. We use it for everything, but have you ever stopped to think about what it's really doing to our minds? Well, some brand new research is giving us a peek behind the curtain, and we're going to dig into this kind of weird, intimate relationship we've all got with AI.
All right, let's just get right to the point. The big question on everyone's mind is AI making us smarter or is it just making us lazier? It's a huge deal, right? And this is the core tension we're going to unpack today. Because trust me, the answer is way more complicated than a simple yes or no.
Okay, so part one. We're going to start small with you. Let's talk about your brain on AI. I mean, just think about your day. You probably woke up and asked some smart device for the weather. You used GPS to get somewhere. Maybe you even had AI help you write an email or summarize a giant boring article. It's just everywhere. It's become this constant sidekick for our brains, quietly taking over all these little mental jobs we used to do ourselves. And there's actually a term for this. It's called cognitive offloading. It's basically just outsourcing your brain work. And look, this is not a new thing. We've been doing this forever. I mean, writing down a shopping list instead of memorizing it, that's cognitive offloading. Using a calculator, same deal. The difference now, the huge difference, is that AI has put this on steroids. It's not just offloading simple math, we're offloading complex thought. So this leads to a massive debate, and it really goes one of two ways. On one side, you've got people saying this is cognitive augmentation. The idea is, hey, let the AI do the boring stuff, and that frees up our brains for the big picture, for creativity, for strategy. But then there's the other side, the fear of cognitive decline. Is AI just an intellectual crutch? Are we going to get so used to it that our own mental muscles just start to waste away? So, which is it? Are we getting smarter or weaker? Well, instead of just talking about it, let's look at some cold, hard data. Check out this number, negative 0.68. Seems kind of random, right? So what on earth does that mean? Well, that number comes from a pretty recent study, and it represents what's called a negative correlation, and it's a strong one. Basically, what they found was the more people leaned on AI to do the thinking for them, the worse their own critical thinking scores got. Yikes. That kind of suggests that outsourcing our thinking might actually have a real cost. Okay, so that's the impact on one person. That's a big deal. But now, let's just zoom out for a second. What happens when it's not just one brain? What happens when it's billions of our brains all at once using the same systems? The scale of that is kind of mind-boggling. All right, part two. We're going from the individual to the collective. This is where we talk about the echo chamber effect. Because this isn't just about your brain anymore, it's about all of our brains, and what happens when they all start to sound the same. Get this. A study from just this year found something pretty wild. It said that AI has, quote, homogenized writing towards Western styles by silently erasing non-Western modes of expression. Whoa, think about that. The AI is subtly pushing everyone to write and think in a more uniform Westernized way. It's called cognitive standardization, this quiet danger that we could all start thinking and sounding alike just because we're using the same tool. And this whole problem gets way, way worse when you throw in something you've probably heard of, filter bubbles. I mean, AI is scary good at learning what you like, right? It figures out what you'll click on, what you agree with, and it just keeps feeding you more of the same. It builds this perfect little information world just for you, where it feels like everyone agrees with you, and you almost never see anything that challenges your beliefs. So how does AI actually pull this off? Well, the research boils it down to three main tricks. First, it plays on our own psychological biases, like confirmation bias, our tendency to favor stuff that proves we're right. AI is an expert at using that against us. Second, like we just said, there's algorithmic personalization. It builds that custom-made bubble around you. And the third one is the scariest, automated disinformation. AI can now create fake text, fake pictures, even fake videos that are so good, they're basically impossible to tell from the real thing. Okay, so if AI can shape what we think as individuals and even shape our whole society, it just leads to this much bigger, almost spooky question. What is actually going on inside the machine? What's happening in there? And that brings us to our final section, part three, Ghost in the Machine. We're going to shift gears here from the practical effects to the really big, philosophical, almost sci-fi questions that AI is forcing us to ask. So a huge piece of this mystery is something called a black box AI. Think about it like this. With these really advanced AI models, we can put information in and we can see the answer that comes out. But the part in the middle, how it got from the question to the answer, it's a total mystery. Even the people who built it don't fully get it. It's a black box.
And it's because of this black box problem that this once crazy question isn't just for sci-fi movies anymore. People are seriously asking it in labs and universities. Could an AI actually become conscious? If we have no idea how it's thinking, how can we be so sure it isn't, thinking?
And believe me, scientists are all over this. Right now, there are a couple of big theories about what consciousness even is. One is the global workspace theory. It's kind of like consciousness is a spotlight on a stage. Whatever information is in that spotlight is conscious and available to the whole brain. The other big one is integrated information theory, which says consciousness is all about how well a system can weave together tons of different information into one single, unified experience. The bottom line, though, nobody agrees. It's still a huge mystery.
So, what's the verdict for today's AI? Well, a big multidisciplinary report came out in 2023 that looked at this exact question. And the conclusion was pretty clear-cut. Based on everything we currently know about consciousness, no existing AI makes the cut. Not even close. We're just not there yet.
All right, so let's recap the whole journey we just took. First, we saw the personal trade-off. AI gives us efficiency, but maybe at the cost of our own skills. Then we zoomed out to the societal level, seeing how that can lead to everyone thinking alike and being manipulated by these filter bubbles. And finally, we dove into the deep end, confronting that huge existential question about whether these black box machines could ever actually be conscious.
Which leaves us with this one last thing to think about. Is there really a ghost in the machine? Are we creating some new kind of mind? Or when we stare into that black box, are we just seeing ourselves? A weird, powerful, maybe even distorted reflection of our own intelligence, our biases, our hopes, and our fears. The answer to that question, well, it's not just about technology. It's about what it means to be human.